Jeremy Knight with the Knight Group, eXp Realty. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hey, this video is a live video that I did on Facebook, and it's about using a good lender and what happens when you have appraisal issues and how to get around those and how important it is to use a local lender. Thanks for watching the video. Again, make sure you hit the like button. Have a great day. Here's been my roller coaster of a week. Got a property under contract, multiple offers, cash deal, amazing, got it. That was a headache in itself. Some things with other offer, just tough deal. Anyway, we got it done. And then, so climbing up, the week's going well. Had some other little stuff happen, some other contracts good, worked them out. And then all of a sudden I get the dreaded email. The dreaded email is that a loan officer, or not the loan officer, I apologize, the lender, the appraisal didn't make value. And so what happens, this is why it's really important, and this is going to be the main point of my video, is it's really important to have a good lender. It's really important to have a good lender. And I know a lot of people, when they're buyers, when they're shopping, and they want the best deal, they want the best rate, and I totally understand that. The problem is sometimes when you use an online lender or just find some other lender, the challenge is sometimes their appraiser pool, their communication is terrible. Just in general, when you're interviewing for a lender, make sure the communication is good, because if they have bad communication, it is a difference between you actually closing and having a lot of money come out of your pocket. So let me explain. So what happens is, when the lender sends out for the appraisal, they have appraisal pool. And depending on their appraisal pool, they'll either have an appraiser pool with like really good appraisers that will look at things and really work with you, or they might have the not so good pool. And really it comes down to what you're being charged for that appraisal, because and a good appraiser could not make an appraisal happen, and a bad appraiser could make it happen. So it goes either way. But having a really good lender that's going to go to bat is the key. And I'm going to give you some scenarios. So this, I've had 4 bad appraisals happen this year. 4. One, it was a really good lender that helped, and we were able to work with the appraiser and get up the value. $10,000, and I want to talk about that one. At another one, the appraiser would not do anything, could not care less, didn't really want to help at all. And it was actually the builder, couldn't get it up. Didn't even want to care. Didn't even care. At another one, the same exact thing. The lender could not have cared less. Didn't really. There's a process. I'm going to go through that. Actually, I had 5 now. This is the 5th. The other one was a builder and they didn't work. And then the 5th one was the one that just came up. So it is very difficult to get an appraisal up, because really, we love you appraisers, but just like appraisers and realtors, we all have egos, right? So when an appraiser comes in and says, hey, this didn't make value, and then you come back and say, oh, it should make value, their ego gets in the way. And that's an appraisal is someone's one person's opinion of value. So okay, so let's wrap it all up. So here's what happens. So when an appraisal comes back low, you have 3 options. Number 1, the seller can bring the price down. So if you're short 10 grand, that's 10 grand out of the seller's pocket. Number 2, you can go back to the buyer and have the buyer come up, which money comes out of the buyer's pocket. Step 3, you go to a protest and you protest the appraisal. And what happens when you protest the appraisal, the agents, hopefully both agents, look at all the comps, look at the appraisal and say, we argue with these reasons of value. We don't think that these reasons made whatever it is. They missed this, he missed this, or she missed this, or they should have used this comp or this comp. Whatever it is, we take that, send it back, and it goes back to their appraisal board, and it takes a few days. And 95%, I know, I'm not really giving you a solid number, but I would say 9 out of 10. Well, for this year, 2 out of 5 did, but a majority will not come up in value. They just won't. And, it's whatever it is between their ego, or they just don't see the value there. They won't come up. So it's a huge challenge. The difference is having a lender that can get in there, get involved in that process, and is actually involved in that process, because the lender can make a big difference too. How the lender talks with the appraiser and the appraisal board makes a huge difference. I'm going to give the examples of the twos. So the first one that we got up this year was with Aaron Kovac with Chase Bank. Normally, we, as realtors, we don't like using big banks, right? We don't like, I'm not going to say it, but the big banks, right? So there you have three types of, main three types of lenders. You have the big banks, the credit unions, the local LOs, which most agents would rather you work with, because in these scenarios, they make a difference. Better communication, a lot of those things. You have the online lenders, like, I'm not going to say any names. Okay, so you have online lenders. So a lot of agents don't like using those three. They like using their local, and the reason why they like using local lenders is much better communication. You get a hold of their people they talk to, the people work with a lot. So Aaron, while with a big bank like Chase, did an amazing job of talking with the appraiser, getting a really good comp from the agent, and really just had that communication, and the appraisal board brought it up. Boom, made it happen. So that was an amazing scenario. This last one was with CMG and Justin Havarsky. So Justin, same thing. I broke down, as a listing agent, broke down all the information, why I felt it should. Number one, my question was, why didn't this make appraisal to begin with? Based on the numbers, it should have based on his numbers, should have made appraisal. Number two, it had comps that weren't in the neighborhood. It had a lot of things that were just, and it was a tough property because it was a big property in a neighborhood with small lots. So that makes it a challenge. Anyway, so we took that information. Justin went and talked with the appraiser board, and we got that appraisal up. So the moral of the story is, it really matters who your lender is, because if you have a lender that's going to go out of their way to help, it's the difference between not making an appraisal and making an appraisal. Now, look, that lender could go to bat, could go to heaven and earth to go get that appraisal up, and might not get it up. But the fact that they're taking the time, to go do that and actually put effort into it is a huge difference, because the three that didn't come up, it didn't really seem like the lenders even cared. They didn't care. And as a buyer, right, or a seller, as a buyer, that money, that difference, that appraisal difference, is coming out of your pocket. So one of the other ones we had, the buyer actually came up like $8,000. The buyer came out of his pocket. My seller was like, nope, we can't do anything for you. We don't agree with this. The buyer didn't have time to fight the appraisal, because again, if you fight that appraisal, it may not allow you to close on time, which sucks, right? If you're a buyer and you're trying to close, you got to be in, or a seller, and you're trying to be out at a certain date, you don't close, that hurts. It hurts the pocket. Chris, I love you, man. Thanks for commenting. So that money on that particular scenario came out of that buyer's pocket, right? It wasn't my buyer, thankfully. I had another scenario, unfortunately, it came out of the seller's pocket. The seller had to drop the price. They kind of met in the middle, and it sucked. Like, it really sucks to, as a seller, looking at your bottom line and then taking a big chunk of that out because one person didn't find the value in that. And then the lender on top of that didn't really want to do anything. So my job as a listing agent, and hopefully your listing agent's job, is to make sure when a buyer does come through, to really look at who the lender is representing them, right? It's really important to do that, because, and to talk with that lender, because if you can have good communication with that lender at the beginning, even on the selling side, chances are you'll have, if an appraisal issue happens, you might get the answers you need. Having a weird deal on a condo property right now where the appraiser's saying it's not a detached condo or something to that effect. And literally I picked up the phone, the lender answered. When the communication's been good. So it's just a weird scenario, but the lender communication was really good. So it gave me a little more confidence in what we're doing. So the moral of this story and why this video is going so long is it really is important for the buyer who your lender is, and it's really important for the seller who the buyer's lender is, because it could be the difference between both of you losing money. So, Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group. I know you didn't want to watch that video. It's just so much blah, 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 blah. Jeremy's talking about stuff I don't care about. It's not fun. I'm not doing my Instagram model stuff. But Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love y'all. Chris, have an awesome day, man. Bye.